Title: A True Adult Star Horror Story. Jenna Carter had always been ambitious. The bright lights, the allure of fame, the intoxicating rush of being in the limelight. She had embraced it all. But beneath the confidence, beyond the carefully curated image of poise and glamour, she was weary. The industry took its toll, and she felt it, deep in her bones. One evening, as she lounged in her upscale apartment, her phone buzzed with an incoming call from her agent. His voice was laced with excitement, an eagerness that made her sit up. "Jenna, I have something exclusive, something beyond anything you've ever done before. A private shoot at a secluded mansion, an avant-garde project with an A-list producer. The pay is unreal, and the exposure? Career-changing. This could be the defining moment of your life." She hesitated only for a second. An opportunity like this was rare, and if there was one thing she had learned in her years in the industry, it was to take chances. She packed her bag meticulously. Lace bodysuits, silk robes, elegant high heels, each piece reflecting the persona she embodied on screen. Little did she know, this wasn't just another project. This was an invitation to something much darker, something inescapable. Some doors, once opened, could never be closed. The drive was long, winding through thick forests and roads swallowed by mist. When the black car finally pulled to a stop, she stepped out into the cold night air, her breath visible in the dim light of the overhead lanterns. Before her stood a towering Victorian mansion, its Gothic spires clawing at the night sky. The windows were dark, except for a faint flicker of candlelight from within. The air carried an eerie stillness, heavy and expectant. A single imposing figure awaited her, Vincent DeMarco, the director. He was a man of reputation, both revered and feared in the industry. His smile was welcoming, but something about it felt off. "Ah, Jenna," he said, his voice smooth yet unnerving. "You have no idea how long we've been waiting for you. Tonight you become part of something truly legendary." She followed him inside. The grandeur of the mansion was suffocating. Velvet drapes, antique cameras, flickering candlelight casting long shadows against ornate furniture. Portraits of women in vintage lingerie lined the walls, their eyes strangely lifelike, as if watching her every move. She had been on countless sets before, each with its own eccentricities. But this was different. The air itself felt thick with something unseen, something whispering through the halls. The walls seemed to breathe. In a dimly lit dressing room, Jenna sat before a grand mirror, adjusting her makeup. The bulbs above her flickered, their glow uncertain. A strange draft brushed against her skin, though no windows were open. A soft knock at the door startled her. A wardrobe assistant entered, handing her an intricate corset, deep burgundy, laced with gold thread, its fabric strangely cool to the touch. "It belonged to someone important," the assistant murmured before swiftly exiting. Brushing away the unease, Jenna fastened the corset. As the laces tightened, a shiver ran down her spine. The room suddenly felt smaller. The shadows stretched unnaturally long. "Did someone just touch me?" she gasped, spinning around. No one was there. The crew exchanged wary glances, but when they reviewed the playback footage, the truth emerged. Dark, spectral hands roamed over her body, hands that belonged to no one in the room. The night spiraled into chaos. Crew members vanished without a trace. The corridors stretched impossibly long. Her own reflection in the antique mirror lagged behind her movements. Drawn by an unseen force, she stumbled into a hidden chamber, a room brimming with dust-covered film reels. She brushed off the grime and read the labels. Each reel carried the name of an actress, names spanning decades. Every name belonged to a woman like her. Women who had walked these halls, donned that very corset, smiled for the camera, and never left. Her blood ran cold as she turned and met Vincent's gaze. His once charming demeanor had warped into something sinister. His smile stretched wider than humanly possible. "You were born for this role, Jenna," he whispered. "The final scene. It belongs to you." She ran. Heart pounding, she clawed at the corset, desperate to remove it. The mansion groaned, its very structure writhing in agony. Ghostly figures materialized, women from the portraits, their eyes filled with sorrow. They guided her, their whispers a mixture of warning and encouragement. Behind her, Vincent's form twisted and contorted, his voice a guttural growl. "You can't leave. You belong to us now." Reaching the grand entrance, Jenna used every ounce of strength to force the heavy doors open. A deafening wail erupted as the mansion imploded, collapsing into itself. The dark energy dissipated into the night sky, vanishing like smoke on the wind. A year later, Jenna sat in a sunlit cafe, hands wrapped around a coffee cup. She had left the industry, retreating into the quiet anonymity she once dreaded. But even now, the weight of her experiences lingered, shadows clinging to the corners of her mind. The television above the counter flickered to life. In a baffling turn of events, the news anchor reported, a historical landmark known as the DeMarco Mansion has vanished. Records of its existence are missing, and all who claim to have seen it can no longer recall its location. Authorities remain puzzled. Jenna's fingers tightened around her cup. A familiar chill ran down her spine. She lifted her gaze to the cafe window. In the reflection, behind her, stood a shadowy figure, its grin stretching unnaturally wide. Some roles cling to you like a second skin. Some directors never let go.